The sun dipped lower behind the towering trees, drenching the pool in a soft golden-orange hue. Amara, a 32-year-old black woman with voluminous curls and piercing eyes, drifted effortlessly in the cool water, cherishing a rare moment of serenity. For the very first time in her life, she had something she had always longed for, a place to call her own. A spacious home, complete with a lush garden and a glistening pool. A dream finally realized after relentless years of struggle, sacrifice, and perseverance. Just as she exhaled in contentment, the front door swung open with force, its hinges groaning in protest. Heavy footsteps echoed through the house, each step carrying an air of authority and purpose. Richard, a white man in his 60s with silver-streaked hair and a build hardened by years of labor, stepped inside. His travel-worn suitcase, still coated in dust from the long journey, thudded onto the floor as his gaze locked onto Amara. For a moment, he stood frozen, his expression shifting from confusion to sheer outrage. His voice exploded through the air, raw with fury. "You filthy black thief! Who the hell are you? How did you even get in here?" His eyes blazed with indignation, his fists clenched at his sides. Amara's grip tightened around the pool's edge, her heart hammering in her chest. Her voice, though shaken, held firm. "This is my home. I bought it just last week." Richard's eyes darkened with disbelief. He yanked out his phone, his knuckles white with tension. "Liar," he spat. "I've lived in this house for years. I never sold it." Panic surged through Amara, but she refused to back down. Scrambling out of the water, she rushed to the living room, pulling open a cabinet with trembling hands. She grabbed a thick stack of papers and held them out, her breath unsteady. "Look, here's the proof. The legal documents of ownership." Richard hesitated for only a second before storming off into another room. He returned moments later, his own set of documents clutched in his grip. "Then explain this," he said coldly, slamming his papers down. Side by side, the documents told the devastating truth. Amara's were fake. And this was only the beginning of her nightmare. Within days, Amara's world crumbled beneath her. Richard took legal action, accusing her of trespassing and illegally occupying his home. The courtroom was unkind. The judge ruled in Richard's favor, leaving Amara not only evicted but also drowning under an enormous fine, one she had no means to pay. With nowhere left to turn, she wandered the streets, her only belongings stuffed into a worn-out backpack. Her once bright future had vanished, reduced to nothing more than a cruel, bitter memory. She had spent her entire life longing for stability, working tirelessly to secure her dream, only to have it ripped away in an instant. Desperate, she dialed the number of the real estate agency that had sold her the house. The line rang endlessly. No answer. She had lost contact with them weeks ago. But she refused to accept defeat. She tracked down their listed office address, only to be met with an empty, abandoned building. A "for lease" sign hung crookedly on the front door. The realization hit her like a freight train. They were gone. Vanished. She was nothing more than another victim in their long trail of deception. A memory clawed its way back into her mind, the last conversation she had with the broker. His voice, dripping with arrogance, sneered through the phone. "Stupid black girl. People like you deserve to lose everything so we can get rich." Then the line went dead. Her knees buckled. She collapsed onto the curb outside the vacant office, silent sobs shaking her frame. People passed by, sparing only fleeting glances filled with indifference or disdain. No one stopped. No one cared. The following days blurred into a haze of hunger, exhaustion, and isolation. She scavenged for scraps, growing numb to the whispers and judgmental stares. But the hardest part wasn't the hunger or the cold. It was the soul-crushing weight of knowing that her dream, her future, had been stolen right in front of her, and no one had lifted a finger to help. One restless night, unable to endure the pain any longer, Amara found herself drawn back to the house. She stood at a distance, watching the warm glow of the lights through the windows, pretending, just for a moment, that she still belonged there. Then, exhausted, she curled up in a hidden corner outside the fence, letting sleep claim her. A sudden rustling in the dark jolted her awake. Her breath caught in her throat. Eyes darting through the shadows, she spotted a figure creeping toward the back door. Thief! Before she could think, instinct took over. She lunged forward, her voice piercing the silence. Hey! Stay away from that house. The intruder hesitated for a split second before swinging at her. The impact sent her crashing to the ground, her skull striking the pavement as darkness swallowed her whole. When Amara's eyes fluttered open, a blinding white light filled her vision. The sterile scent of antiseptic burned her nostrils. Hospital. And then she saw him. Richard. He sat beside her, his expression unreadable. But when he spoke, his voice was different, softer, reflective. Why did you fight so hard for that house? He asked. It wasn't even yours. For a long moment, Amara said nothing. Then, in a voice laced with pain, she told him everything. Her childhood as an orphan, the years of sacrifice, the endless struggle to build a future, only to have it stolen in an instant. When she reached the part about the broker's final words, her voice cracked. Richard's jaw tightened. His gaze darkened. This was bigger than just Amara. It was a deep, systemic injustice, one that had played out far too many times. He exhaled slowly, his eyes distant. I once had a best friend, he murmured. A black soldier. We fought side by side, risked our lives for each other. He had the same dream as you, to own a home. He saved for years. But just like you, he was scammed out of everything. His voice grew heavy. He died with nothing. No home. No hope. Richard had been powerless to help his friend back then. But this time, he wasn't going to stand by. Teaming up with Jamal, the son of his fallen friend, who had also lost his home to fraud, they devised a plan to lure the scammers out. A week later, the trap was set. Jamal posed as a new buyer, targeting the same fraudulent agency. The con artists eagerly fell for it, setting up a house tour late at night. The moment they stepped inside, the lights flickered on. Police swarmed in, guns drawn. The scammers froze, caught, exposed, and powerless. Within hours, authorities traced their entire operation, dismantling the network before they could escape. Justice was finally served. And more than that, the stolen money was returned to the victims. Amara stood in front of Richard's house one last time, no longer weighed down by despair. Richard placed a hand on her shoulder. This time, find a home that's truly yours.